Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, Frankie Stats Janisch. And their co-host, the man of controversy, Mr. Brian the Duke David. And finally, your host, Aaron Turner. Let's get ready to Schmoedown.
What's going on, guys? This is a special episode of the Schmoedown Rundown. It is the recap of the Patriots versus Top 10 July 4th Special Edition Team Championship match. Joining me, the stat man, Frank Janisch. What's up, dude?
Oh, it's a sad day, Aaron. It's a sad, sad day.
Yeah, it must have been really bad to be there live. I would hate if somebody was. Oh, no.
Gutted.
We'll talk more about that here in just a second. Brian Davids, he's also here. How you doing, sir?
Aaron and Frank, I'm breathing life like fire as I love the 4th of July.
All right, before we get started into our actual recap, Frank was in studio for this match. He, once again, upheld the embargo, did not say anything. We appreciate that. But he did get to speak with Jeff Snyder and Tom Dagnino. But first, here's Jeff.
All right, I'm here with Jeff Snyder. He is mere minutes away from battling top 10. What do you have? I mean, what do you think is going to happen in this match? What are you predicting besides pain?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to remind top 10 why they lost to us in the first place. And if anything, I'm predicting a more decisive victory. I think JTE and I have really grown as a team, and I don't see that kind of unity between Rocha and Nos.
More decisive? You barely escaped with that last-minute question. You think maybe more decisive as in you win by 2 questions. Is that right?
This interview's over.
All right. How have you been doing anything different to prepare for top 10? Because, I mean, they are a force to be reckoned with. They were champs at one point. They have a tremendous record. Their accuracy on answering questions is very high. How do you look at them and say, here's what we got to do to get better?
Unfortunately, I mean, what do I have to do to get better? We're undefeated, so we can't be any better. I still think of top 10 as a one-man team. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I think Rocha carries Nost, and I haven't seen Nost make these improvements over the last month. You know, he show it on the field.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Jeff Snyder for Team Patriots,
And that was what Jeff had to say. A lot of interesting things there. Let's see how it played out for him. But before we go, Frank, you also had the opportunity to speak with the outlaw, John Rocha, to get his brief thoughts before he and Matt Nost took on Team Patriots, and here we go.
All right, here we have the outlaw John Rocha just minutes before his match goes down with Team Patriots. Now,
this is really your voice, isn't it?
This is actually my voice.
This is actually your voice in person. I thought you were putting it on like Bob Costas does or something. This is actually your voice. You actually speak like this.
This is correct. Yes!
Yes! Ewing, yes!
All right, so I just talked to Jeff Snyder. He's taking you guys pretty lightly. He thinks he's going to kick your ass
He doesn't
worse than last time.
Yeah.
What have you done as a team, or if anything, to prepare for this battle with the Patriots?
Well, the thing is, Jeff and JT are the most nervous, intense guys, and they make each other like crazy with their intensity. Matt chills me out. That's why we win, because he knows how intense I can get. People talk about it all the time. People say, oh, it's too much, too little, too whatever. But Matt's always good at leveling me out. So this time around, we focused more on just kind of like our teamwork, what works best. Who's ever riding the high gets that 3-point question rather than who's ever like in its turn it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a whole different focus. And I've never seen Matt driven more to win the titles than he is this time, because he hated the way we lost the titles. If we had lost it straight up, legitimate, we could have slept with it. It's like Apollo Creed, right? Lost by a second. That's really hard to live with. So both of us have been kind of focusing on it, and we want those titles back around our waists.
This is an addendum to our interview last week with Tom Dagnino. And Frank, you got to sit down with him for a little bit, but that's not the only person you were supposed to interview. What happened?
Yeah, Christian walked over JTE to me to talk to him, And JTE asked if I was a top 10 fan. And so what did I say? I said, absolutely. And then JTE promptly just walked away from me. I mean, what the hell is that about?
I like that. I like that a lot.
I don't blame him.
But here's I'm sorry, Tom Dagnino. Here we are talking with Tom Dagnino, the mouthpiece of, what are you guys called again?
Come on, I'm not going to answer that question. If you don't know it, I'm not going to answer it.
All right, well, this is going swimmingly. Now, what do you think the Patriots are going to do against the top 10?
We're going to smoke them per usual. They're a bunch of clowns over there. They have no idea what they're doing in life. They might come on all classed up. They might do what they want. Rocha, they're going to choke. Listen, Rocha and Snyder are head-to-head, right on par with each other. JTE is better than the other guy, and that's the difference. He's going to answer the questions to make it right. JTE will be the difference in this match, for sure.
What if JTE lets you down? How will that affect your relationship?
He can never let me down. He's my best friend.
Even if he loses?
He's still the best.
That's a great friend, guys. That's a great friend.
Yeah,
That's
he knows everything. He's a brilliant human.
What more do you want from Mr. Tom Dagnino? Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. So that's what they had to say. Now let's get to what we have to say. Let's talk about it. It's here, July 4th special. Fireworks on the graphics, American flag in the background. It's patriotic as you could get. Let's start with the promos. I got to start with what Tom Dagnino said, calling Top 10 the Capeless Crusaders, which was just unbelievable. Made me laugh.
He was talking into a shoe.
Oh, so good. So good. I don't know where this guy comes up with this stuff, but man, he hits it out of the park every time. And I made this joke for about the third time today, and I'll do it again. I think that Matt Nost in this match looked like a turn-of-the-century train conductor with his gray three-piece suit. All he was missing was a pocket watch.
I've got a lot to say on this, believe me. I just want to give credit, though, real quick to Snyder's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly line. That was sheer poetry.
A lot was made about Jeff Snyder's toothpick. He ended up coming back around on it later. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But why are people taking digs at Jeff Snyder and his outfit? I don't understand.
I liked it. It's no big deal. This is Schmoedown attire. It doesn't have to be formal per se, but he made some effort, unlike Nost usually. And that being said, I've given the guy a hard time. He's got the pizza guy nickname, thanks to Dagnino. But he finally took my advice and went with the Charlie Prince getup. He finally matched Rocha's Ben Wade, if you will. And I just think it was too little too late, but at least he tried.
Yeah, I guess A for effort for that one. But let's talk about the entrances now. Out comes Top 10. They come out first with their The Champ Is Here song. And the Beast, William Bibiani, comes out with his chainsaw and his trademark beast mask. Nowhere to be found is the fourth horseman, Robert Meyer Burnett. Not sure if there was a scheduling conflict. Not sure what happened. But once again, the horsemen are not whole.
Guys, I mentioned last week that if Burnett wasn't at this match, that means that the horseman demise is upon us. And Christian tried to say, it was just a scheduling thing, or he didn't really give a real reason, but this is not an accident. Burnett is a sign that there is blood in the water, and I think Collision is when it's going to truly catch on fire.
And of course, Team Patriots come out. I applaud them because they have used the same entrance music every single time. Speaks to continuity, speaks to their teamwork. I like it. Grace Hancock came out to lead them out, and of course Tom was there getting all the showers of boos. Probably the loudest boos we've heard in a match so far. Wouldn't you say, Frank?
Absolutely, absolutely. Everyone in that audience was booing the hell out of the Patriots from the very get-go. Just for anything they would say or do, they were getting booed. And it's a shame that, what we saw on YouTube about the match, the audience's level of boos wasn't fully heard on the video, because when I was there, it just felt a lot louder. And I think that's something that definitely the Patriots fed off of throughout the match.
JTE seemed to enjoy it. He revels in boos. And Aaron, just to follow up your previous point, how can Rocha give anyone crap about what they're wearing when he is teammates with the worst dressed player in this league until this match? I mean, this is the one time where his partner finally put some clothes on. But anyways, we've moved past that point.
And shout out to Christian for the knock on JT, saying that it was, or maybe it was Ken that was saying that JT in the Patriots shirt was his formal wear. I enjoyed that. That was pretty funny.
He had a new Adidas hat on, though. We got to give him credit for that. That was a new Adidas hat that I've never seen before.
JT, easy guy to pick on in terms of appearance, not so much in performance, as we'll find out here in a little bit. So let's jump into round one. It was the Patriots getting 14 points, JTE getting 6 of those, Jeff Snyder getting 8 with a perfect round, but he missed a bonus question. Top 10 getting 9 with Rocha 5 points and Nost 4 points. So Brian, what do we think of round one here?
First off, how has the pizza guy not seen Room with Jacob Tremblay in it? That is just absurd. This is why Nost stinks, because he hasn't seen movies that everybody should see, including the Oscar delights of this year and years past. Observation for the competitors who are listening. Schmoedown players, alert, alert, alert. Watch Con Air. Study Con Air, because Polinsky keeps pulling questions from Con Air. This has been established for years now. So Rocha confused Cameron Poe with Castor Troy from Face Off. That cost them another point there. Guys, it's Anna Faris, not Anna Faris. Of course, Jeff Snyder got it right as far as the pronunciation goes. He was the only one. That's why he's a champion. Kenny Lonergan, Manchester by the Sea. How did Nost not get this once again? Does he not watch the Oscars? I don't get it. If you are in this league, you have to be aware of the Oscar caliber people of this year and at least last year. Very easy first round, all things considered. Frank, did you find this to be an especially easy round?
Yeah, I thought it was, for the most part, an easy round considering it's a championship match. We heard Snyder say just as much. I was really surprised Rocha got that Con Air question wrong. I'm surprised that
Luke Skywalker, isn't this worse than Bespin?
It's not worse than Bespin, but
I mean the stakes were It's this is an easier question.
It is. Yeah, I think it's an easier question, but I don't think it's as bad as Bespin because Bespin, that's a winning question there. So the stakes aren't as dramatic. Even though I know it's a title match. I know it's a title match, but it wasn't for the win. There was still room to make up for it. What I was trying to say is that I was surprised with the questions pertaining to newer movies like Room and Manchester by the Sea. You would think you would know stuff about the most recent movies, let alone directors and actors. Disappointing round through round one for top 10, and I have to tell you, sitting there in that audience, I had a bad feeling about 3/4 of the way through the first round. Did not feel good.
It's inexcusable for the pizza guy to miss a couple of these questions. Aaron, did you notice that Harloff purposely boned Jeff Snyder for talking crap by giving him that 1954 musical bonus question after Jeff ran the table in round one?
Yeah, that was a big ouch. Do you want your shovel back after completely just absolutely burying Matt Nost?
He deserved it, man. He missed 2 questions that anyone who's in this league should get because they're fresh on our minds from this year's Oscars and last year's Oscars.
The poor guy can't breathe anymore. I have to give a shout out to Jeff Snyder, though, for the Kenneth Lonergan answer for going to school with Kenneth Lonergan. I thought that was hilarious.
Let me point out one thing about the Patriots, and we saw this happen against Wolves of Steel, and I said it, I think, in our preview for that match. If the Patriots have a good first round, because up until that point, they did not have great first rounds. They were always very average, if not sometimes below average. They had an above average first round against Wolves of Steel. Was pretty much the difference maker in that match. And they came out with 14 points here. Snyder runs the table. JT goes 6 of 8. That's a bad sign because Patriots got off to a hot start. They're excellent in second rounds, and we know how they are in speed rounds. It was just a bad start, and top 10 couldn't keep pace. And that's why they fell behind early.
I'm actually going to steal your gimmick later. I have a telling stat for this match later on.
What?
That's right. I have a telling stat that will blow your mind at the end of this match. So
I probably know it then. So I'm just saying.
Whoa, Stat Lord, simmer down, Sparky.
Sorry about that.
No one has a problem with Christian purposely giving Jeff the most obscure bonus point question. I mean,
no.
Who cares?
No. I mean, I don't know if it actually came directly from him, or if it was between him and Ken, or a third judge came up with that question. I don't know how they got to that question, or if that's the bonus question that's in the bank. I don't know.
It sounded like he was searching for it. I mean, I don't think he'd give Robert from Late to the Party that bonus question, but that's just me.
I think that's an interesting question to ask Skalisky. Is there a bonus question that's already in the bank that they go to that document, pull it up, and that's the bonus question for that particular match?
I bet there are several options. That's my guess, though.
I would like to think there's not, but well, I mean, there at least has to be 4. I would think, because if let's just say theoretically, all 4 people got all 8 right, they would have to get 4 separate questions. I think maybe.
Well, he did address the categories, so it looks like they have categorical options for the bonus question as well.
But that's neither here nor there. So,
well, to find out the answer to those questions with Chris Skalisky, be sure to check the comments section below, because I'm sure he will comment
yes.
on that. Let's jump to round 2, where it was the Patriots rolling sports movies, 4 of 6 for 7 points. Top 10 goes with comedy, sticks with comedy, because Matt's in stand-up. 3 of 6 for 5 points. Top 10 got a 1-point steal by stealing a U.S. Open. And Team Patriots got a 1-point steal as well. Vermont from Super Troopers. The Patriots led after round 2, 22-15, starting to widen the gap there. Brian, what'd you think of round 2?
A couple things. JTE did address the fragile wheel. He said he didn't want to spin it too hard, so that's a follow-up point there. It's interesting that Tin Cup came up because we were just talking about that in regards to the laying up phrase or expression. It was stolen by Top 10, of course, that answer. Why the heck was Top 10 talking during the Patriots' turn? I thought that was incredibly bad form by Top 10. That is just inexcusable. That is Bush League.
Yeah, I didn't like it because at one point the Christian was counting down, and I don't know if they could hear it or not. And
it's very distracting.
That would have been a big problem.
Here's what I want to say about that, and this is coming from a Top 10 fan, and I got to be brutally honest. To me, that showed signs they knew they were in trouble.
That's a point.
They knew they were in trouble.
Okay.
And I think maybe Rocha doesn't want to admit that, and I understand that, but that's how I kind of see it. And look, I'm as big a Top 10 fan as anyone. I think everyone in that studio knew Top 10 was in trouble right for that first round. So that's kind of how I saw it.
I hope they lose fans for that, because that's not fun to watch as the audience when you're trying to enjoy the match and you've got people chirping in the competitors' ears. That's just not good sportsmanship. That is Bush League. That's embarrassing.
I don't
It's embarrassing.
I don't take it that seriously.
It's bad form, as Peter Pan once said. JTE got overconfident, though, and he denied his partner's 2 cents in regards to the Rocky II commercial. And, folks, this is a lesson learned. Never block out your teammate. Always use your teammate, even if it's your strong suit. JTE thought he knew Rocky inside and outside and front ways and sideways, but he didn't. He thought it was cologne. It was aftershave. And, of course, Top 10 boned the steal, but regardless, never block out your teammate. I was impressed, though, that JTE bounced back with the Rumble in the Jungle. He knows his boxing. 7-point turn for the Pats, 1-point steal for Top 10. Aaron, you made me laugh when you pointed out how Rocha was so confident in Top 10 spin of comedy, and you could tell that Nost wanted no part of comedy, and Rocha even tried to justify why Nost would want comedy, even though he didn't want comedy, by saying that Nost was a stand-up. And yet Nost still didn't look any more confident once Rocha said that. That killed me, especially when you just drew reference to it. Look, I'm surprised that they got, 6 points out of this? Frank, how many points did they get out of this?
They got 5 points during the comedy
That's right.
category.
So it was not a great round, 5 points. By the way, Rocha mispronounced Castroneves. He said Castroneves. It's Castroneves. But Aaron, further thoughts, or Frank, further thoughts?
Here's the thing. I have to actually shout out JTE for not getting upset that it was aftershave over cologne, because he easily could have pitched a fit about it. Yeah. And JTE said, you know what, I'm fine with that, because it's correct. I have to kind of shake my head at Top 10 guessing cologne. Because as we've seen in Schmoedown's past, they probably would have given it to him if it was cologne. It's like, well, it must be cologne then.
They would not have given it to him. They were looking
You don't
strictly
think so?
for after. No, they were strictly looking for aftershave.
Well, no, I'm saying like if the answer actually was cologne and JT said brute cologne, they would have probably just given it to him.
Well, yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
But
Wait, if
Yeah.
JT didn't say brute, do you think Cologne would have passed?
no. I think they were pretty set on that.
Because cologne and aftershave are completely two different things.
Right.
I
I heard Perry challenge this on behalf of
Did you?
Patriots.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I heard.
Oh, okay.
She was
She
very
filed a
insistent,
formal
she was very
petition?
insistent on it.
Yes, even after the fact, yeah. One thing I want to say about Top 10, sticking with comedy, I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all, and
Neither did Matt Nose.
apparently, and it showed getting only 5 points. So, yeah, just didn't like it, man.
Stand up.
For those who are curious, Judge Wexler in Ghostbusters 2 was not the inspiration for Kim Wexler on Better Call Saul.
Phew, that was bothering me, yeah.
Aaron is now rolling his eyes on cue.
All right, let's jump to round 3. What we got?
Well, the round 3, of course you gave me round 3 in our assignment because you know that I do not like round 3 of championship matches. I
I would never do that just to intentionally that there's no way. You know me better than that.
We're doing a show here, but look, I still find these rounds to be incredibly anticlimactic. Who was the person that taunted at ringside in Rocky Balboa? The answer was Mike Tyson. Top 10 bet 3 points, and surprisingly, the Patriots only bet 1 when they are very strong in boxing-based trivia. That cut the lead 23-18 Patriots. There was a little bit of hope there on Top 10, even though they were down 5. The announcers tried to make it into what could be a turning point. Aaron, thoughts on round 3?
The reason I think the Patriots only went with 1 was just based off the movie. I don't know if maybe they got it jumbled with, because Mike Tyson is in it just for a brief moment, but Antonio Tarver is Rocky's opponent in this, Mason the Line Dixon. I just don't know if they got it confused and they weren't sure which one was which, and they just didn't want to chance it. That was my thought on it, because there's 2 distinct boxers in that film.
Yeah, I was going to say as my answer that it was Antonio Tarver. So was Tyson mocking Tarver?
He was in the film.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very brief.
That's very confusing. Very tricky Skaliski strikes again. Frank, thoughts on round 3?
Yeah, I was really surprised to see Patriots only bet 1. And then, you said it earlier with Top 10 earning 3, betting 3, giving a little bit of hope there, maybe a little bit, and kind of did work for like about 5 minutes until round 4 started.
Were you pounding shots of Jägermeister at this point in the audience, Frank?
I was flat out drunk. I don't remember a thing after this. No, that didn't happen. But what was happening in the audience is Tom Dagnino pacing back and forth like a coach on a sideline would, pacing back and forth throughout this entire match. It was fascinating to watch because it really did feel like an actual sporting event at times. For a lot of this match, it felt like a big sporting event. Especially you got Tom walking back and forth, people hooting and hollering, booing at Patriots for anything they say. It was an amazing atmosphere to be a part of and witness it. Just the one thing I found so interesting and funny and cool was Tom Dagnino being like some sort of Don Shula up and down the sidelines. It was something to see.
It's funny that you mentioned that because our friends Late to the Party, they did their behind-the-scene video during Late to the Party week last week. And one of the things that surprised me the most was Tom Dagnino sitting there watching all of the matches and seeing how focused he was on matches that really had nothing to do with him. He was watching action and Late to the Party very closely.
They are into it. It's legit. It's 100%. They're into it. And that only comes across through on screen to us. I mean, it stems from Tom and the Patriots as a team and everybody else involved in the Schmoedown, Top 10, Four Horsemen, what have you. Everyone there is in it to win. Bibiani, all of them.
But I'm not surprised, though, when you say that he was pacing back and forth based on how closely he was watching matches that have no relation to the Lions' Den. Yeah, maybe he was scouting. Maybe he was recruiting. Maybe that's why he was so focused during the Late to the Party week. Aaron, any thoughts on Dagnino's incredible focus?
What was Grace Hancock doing?
I'm pretty sure she was taking notes, but she was paying attention as anyone else was.
Okay, fantastic. I just assumed that Tom was probably scouting for his upcoming match with Matt Nost, seeing what strengths and weaknesses Matt had, and probably just trying to keep a level head during his team's matchup here.
I think Grace was practicing her lines for her next audition. Pilot season's coming up. Well, can I move to round 4, gentlemen?
Yes, please.
Off we go.
Well, it's 23-18 Patriots. Question 1, what is the city in the Back to the Future franchise? Of course, it's Hill Valley, and yet nobody buzzed in. Nobody submitted an answer, and the crowd was angry. They were basically, WTF, what the heck's going on here? This is one of the easiest questions ever asked in the Schmoedown, if you ask me. And what I do like is that nobody buzzed in prematurely without having the answer. As I've said before, I'd much rather people not buzz in than buzz in just to be first without having an answer and then leading to that whole debate whether someone should get the chance to steal. But no one buzzed in. I was stunned by this. I'm sure you guys were too.
Brian, Aaron, everyone in that audience was ready to grab a pitchfork and kick these guys out of the studio. It was insane. I could not believe it. No one could understand how those 4 people up there could not know that answer. How did they not know that answer is beyond everyone's mind. It was the most confounding moments I've ever witnessed.
I'm sure you guys didn't know the answer to the next question, the holiday that Harry and Sally finally got together on when Harry met Sally.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm sure neither of you have seen that movie. It's a great film that you should check out. Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan in their primes.
I'm sorry. Isn't Carrie Fisher in that movie as well?
She is. She absolutely is.
Thank you.
But you haven't seen it though, Aaron.
How do you know?
Because I have a feeling. I just have a sense about these things.
Directed by Rob Reiner?
Yeah, you know the trivia about it, but I know you haven't seen it. I can tell.
Okay, I'll have what you're having. Let's move on.
Well, JTE was the one to buzz in first. Patriots go up 24-18. Then JTE buzzed in on question 3, River Phoenix as the young Indiana Jones in Last Crusade. 25-18 Patriots. Question 4, Jeff Snyder imposes his will. Tina Turner, Angela Bassett, and What's Love Got to Do with It? Patriots 26-18. And question 5, Jim Carrey, Snyder buzzes in before anybody else. Number 23, the Patriots go up 27-18. Frank, was the match over as far as the audience was concerned at this point?
Pretty much. I mean, it was an absolute stunner of a round Patriots put on, sweeping 4 points. Top 10 didn't answer anything. People in the audience were just looking around like, this is really happening? This is it? This is how it happens? It was a sight to behold. That's for damn sure.
Aaron, have you seen dominance like this lately? Is this the most dominant thing you've seen in a title match in some time?
The only title match-wise, I don't think I've seen this since Top 10 versus the Schmoes in terms of pure dominance. But I was thinking back to Team Patriots versus the Mega Powers. Just absolutely smoked them. And in this round, it was apparent that the Patriots were just a class above Top 10 once again. And JTE, a guy that takes so much crap from everyone in this league, came to play. The guy was focused. He wanted to win. And Jeff was just as good. And this round was incredible.
You know, it's interesting. When I first started doing podcasts on this channel, one of the first things I put myself on a limb as saying was the fact that I believed in JTE's Schmoedown ability, and I felt that he had belts in his future. I just thought it would be in singles. So it's just funny that he's now part of the most successful team in Schmoedown history, but we'll get to that in a second. Aaron, please take us to round 5.
Well, round 5, Top 10 had a lot of ground to make ups. They kicked us off. Blank check. What was the amount written for? Matt Nost knew it.
He knows his Preston Waters.
$1 million. My name is Macintosh. Top 10 could not miss.
Nice pull, Aaron.
Thank you. Top 10 could not miss a question in this round, so all the pressure was on Top 10. We go to the 3-point question. Harry and Marv in Home Alone. What do they call themselves? The Wet Bandits. Rocha cannot pull it off. The Patriots don't even need to answer questions. and Team Patriots remains the champions by TKOing Top 10 27-20. Before I get to anybody, I got to say this. I'll pull the curtain back for you just a pinch here. There are occasions where we will get a message from the boss, and he will say something to the tune of, hey, let me know when you've watched the match because I want to hear your reaction to it, because he knows that there's something in there that's just going to make us go nuts. So I was wondering when this moment would come. I thought it was the Hill Valley question, but no. It had to be the Wet Bandits, and I'll tell you exactly what I sent to Christian Harloff after I watched this match. I picked up my phone, and I immediately messaged him, really? The fucking Wet Bandits? That was what I said. That was my immediate reaction. What about you, Brian?
Agree. I mean, the thing is, I wasn't as surprised as you might think, just because I've seen Top 10, individually at least, have trouble with Home Alone in the past. I believe it was Nost versus RB3, where Nost had trouble with Little Nero's, the pizza franchise in that movie. Go figure, the pizza guy had trouble with a pizza franchise. And that's a harder question. It's an answerable question. It's a harder question, but this needs to be answered. This is embarrassing. And as I've said before, in regards to Rocha missing questions from Home Alone, he also missed a question for another 90s comedy called The Heavyweights. There's just a generational gap when it comes to these early to mid-90s comedies in John Rocha, and it came back to haunt him once again. And he did not learn from his previous blunders, where this same era of comedy came back to haunt him. And this is where someone like The Beast, this is where someone like a Miss Movies would train to fill that weak spot. So John Rocha, this is his fault. He knew this was a weakness, and yet he did not address it from his previous matches where this weakness was exploited. So, Frank, further thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised he missed this one, but not too surprised, because you're right. He has had trouble in this area before. And when the question came up, I felt like everyone in that studio knew the answer. I think when you're under the lights, you're at that table and you're answering that question, and you don't know it, but you have the sense that everyone else in that studio does. I can't imagine what that feels like, especially in a title match. It's got to be very nerve-wracking, and he probably was, not probably, he was definitely mad at himself for missing this question, because he let his team down, he let Matt down, he let Outlaw Nation down, he let down the Four Horsemen, he let down everyone.
Can you cut the tension with a knife in those moments, in that place? Can you feel the tension?
Well, I'll tell you this. After the match, I saw Rocha sitting down, and he was just stewing about the way the match ended and how it went and how badly they lost. It did not sit well. It's not sitting well with him from what I could see. And I didn't see Nose hang around very long, and he was out of there before I knew it. So he's clearly not happy as well. An absolutely devastating way to lose a title match. Nothing else can be said.
Guys, I feel like you're letting them off easy. Like, I know you've made your critiques, but I got to be bad cop here. What the hell do you watch at Christmas other than Home Alone? Like, do you just watch Four Christmases? Do you watch that like 50 times? Like, why do you not watch Home Alone? I don't
Christmas Story, What's a Wonderful Life. There's a lot of good movies, Aaron.
Yeah, there's also like 25 days in the season to watch Christmas movies from Thanksgiving on. How the hell do you not fit Home Alone?
Home Alone 2, people.
Yeah. Home Alone is a staple. Aaron, I totally agree. Is this worse investment?
I'm just trying to help my boy out here.
It's not worse investment. It's not. Like, I know I kind of made it seem
question though.
It's not worse investment though, because John Rocha doesn't do a podcast about Home Alone.
Yeah, but he didn't know who was the first person to use a lightsaber in Empire. That's just
well. To be fair, I thought it was Han Solo, so I'm just as big a fool as him. So
I'm not surprised. I mean, look, when they started playing those Bush League tactics in round 2, that's when I knew the Patriots had. I knew the Patriots had this weeks ago. It was in the air, but this was an embarrassing loss. Bottom 10 were not only destroyed, but their level of sportsmanship was just garbage. They talked during the Patriots round 2, as I keep saying. They were dropping F-bombs left and right on the 4th of July, and they were just the worst sports in every sense. So the fall of the Outlaw will continue at Collision. I hope there's enough time for Brian Ward to take Breaking Bad's Ozymandias promo from pre-season 5B and replace Heisenberg's hat with the Outlaws cowboy hat, because the visage is crumbling, folks.
All right, who's ready for the telling stat of this match? Who's ready?
Oh, please do. Enlighten me.
Drum roll, please. All right, I'm going to ask you guys a question. How much time in this entire match did top 10 have a lead? Even in the first round, how long?
The actual time, like
the actual time.
Seconds, minutes?
Minutes, seconds. 0 minutes,
Yeah.
0 seconds.
Trick question.
They never led at any point in this match. They got smoked, folks. They got absolutely smoked. The score does not tell the tale. They got destroyed.
And they exhibited loser behavior, as our friend of the show, Tom Dagnino, would say. So they didn't just lose, they acted like losers. That's my biggest problem.
I completely agree with you on this, which is kind of hard to believe because we hardly ever agree, but I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I had a problem. Let's go ahead and talk about the post-match interview with Matt Nost assuming that there was a buzzer issue and that Christian is intentionally allowing the Patriots to be on top of the league.
I buy it.
That's just ridiculous. I mean, come on, don't dig yourself a deeper hole. I get that he had to get back to his shift at Goodfellas Pizza, but
oh, that was stiff.
But look, I mean, Rocha said that, something needs to happen. He said he blamed himself, and then No stepped in and said, no, we lose as a team. But Rocha kept saying that that a change is needed. Something needs to change. And it seemed like Rocha was ready to dump his entire stable, his entire team. It seemed like he was ready to clean house and just go about this in a whole different way. I'll talk more about this later, but this is setting up some very interesting events at Collision in a few days. And like I said, I think the stable of the Horsemen is going to be set on fire at the very least. And Burnett not being there to support his stable, that is a telling sign.
I'm so sick and tired of the kumbaya. It's not your fault. It was my fault. I let the team down. I'm so tired of that bull crap. Like, just shoot us straight. You both blew it. Just shoot us straight on it. Like, you don't have to hold each other's hands anymore. Like, I'm so sick and tired of top 10 and their kumbaya. Like, one minute they're the nicest guys in the world, and the next minute they're complete jerk-offs to the Patriots. Figure it out, guys. One way or the other.
Well,
right now,
the Patriots do deserve what they get from people who face them.
They didn't do anything.
The Patriots are jerks too.
They did nothing but answer questions correctly. That's all they did, which is more than you can say for top 10.
I don't recall the Patriots talking during top 10's round 2 turn. I don't recall them doing that. So,
shout out to Jeff Snyder real quick for it's coming back around, the toothpick, which everybody kept giving him crap for. Jeff Snyder says, I'm taking the toothpick out of my mouth so you can see me smile wider. Loved it. I love that.
Ear to ear, baby. And Christian tried to say in the post-match that Nost played better than Rocha. And while Rocha was the lesser player of the two on this day, it's still a which dead skunk smelled better than the other type situation. So just because Nost was slightly better doesn't mean that either of them played well. But I want to congratulate the Patriots. In my lifetime, I witnessed every second of Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls dynasty, as well as Tom Brady's with the Patriots, the New England Patriots. But now I can say that I witnessed the Patriots dynasty become an integral part of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown lore. They're this league's greatest champion, regardless of singles, teams, inner geekdom. They are the biggest championship force we've ever seen, and it's a privilege to get to watch them.
Best team, best heels, best champions, best stable.
Boom.
Bottom line.
How about them apples, Frank?
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. But you have to give Patriots their due. They are legit. They're fierce. I have no problem saying that because it's true. I see it. I don't know who can beat them right now because if top 10 can't, I really don't know. I don't even know if the Schmoes could do it. I don't know if Rotten Tomatoes or Nerds Watch could do it. I don't know. And if Bibiani and Winnie Seibold come into the league, I don't know if they can beat them because I need to see what they do.
Right.
So,
that was something I said last week. I think the only threat could come from the outside, like the Beast and and Whitney, but that signifies that the end of the Horsemen is near for that to happen. And I just hope Matt Nose got his suit back to Men's Warehouse in time before he was charged for another day.
Quick point I want to make. Frank, you actually just made it pop into my head. Did anybody notice Ken after the match talking about the Patriots? It seemed like Ken was like, we may have bitten off a little bit more than we can chew here. It doesn't look like it's going to be as easy as we thought it might be. I saw it. I saw it in Ken.
I think there's a little more. I think it was a sign of just a tinge of respect towards the Patriots. I think he still believes that he will deliver the Patriots their vengeance, and so I think that's all that was. I still think he's pretty confident with Rachel at his side, and he rightfully should be. But I don't know if they can do it. If he believes they can do it, that's all that matters. Just don't know.
Remember, he joined the Schmoedown to specifically erase villains like the Patriots. So it's going to be a tall order, folks.
I'm going to give you guys one more bullet point to sleep on. Just think that Team Patriots, JT and Jeff Snyder, were almost not a team.
Yeah, that's true.
They came together completely, almost randomly. And look how this has worked out.
Just like it worked out for Stacy when she moved the ticker. The things that you don't expect.
BDSM.
BDSM, baby. BDSM, baby.
I thought we were going to make it, through this without BDSM.
Never.
Okay. Never. Yeah.
Threesomes.
Oh, boy.
Strippers, exotic dancers.
That's going to do it for this special episode of the Schmoedown Rundown, recapping the July 4th matchup. We've got a big Collision preview coming this Wednesday, where we will break down all the matches. And I misspoke because apparently I don't know math, but we will have 5 guests, not 6. Sorry about that. Frank Janisch, where can you be found, sir?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FrankieJ29, and be sure to check out Schmoedown.com for the weekly Schmoedown recap.
All right. Proprietor of the BDSM method, he's Brian Davids. Where can you be found, sir?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at BDF331. Check out my TV film podcast at filmschlubspodcast.com or wherever podcasts are found. And as always, special thanks to Clint Lajeunesse at Flood Pinkster, Shane Bowman at HeisenbergChronicles.com, and Collider Zone Ray Ora for all their help with graphics every week.
I'm Aaron, AT Titanium on Twitter. We'll see you Wednesday. Goodbye.